I'm taking apart this small portable powered cooler. It works on 12 volts or 110 volts. And I looked for a video on how to take it apart, and no one else is doing this. So I thought I would just record myself fumbling around with this thing, trying to get at its guts. The reason is I need a small compressor to power a small outdoor refrigerator I'm going to do. And I looked at all of these car refrigerator units, and they all said they were in the range of 45 to 60 watts, regardless of how many cans they say that they hold. So, figuring they're all the same, I bought the lowest cost one. I think it was an Amazon Prime deal for around $120, something like that. And so figuring one's the same as the other. We're going to take this one apart, see if I can get the guts out of it. Of course, you want to be careful. Refrigeration compressors do have compressed gas in them, and we don't want to puncture a line or let anything out. I've already taken out screws here on the bottom. There were 5 screws kind of around this compressor area, and I've started to remove the wiring jack. The wiring jack takes, well, in this case, our power adapter is 14.5 volts that came with it. But it says it's powered by 12 to 24 volts. So the fact that it says it's 110 volt or 12 volt power, when they get 12 volt power, you're just going straight from your car's system without doing a step down. It's really a 12 to 24 volt compressor system. So with those 4 screws out and pulling back on it, we got the compressor section to release. Let's see if I can pop that out now. Yep. Here we go, right here. You want to be careful because there's going to be wires and coils with refrigerant in it. But this part had the wires, and I popped out the electrical connection right there. So that's just the voltage that's there. Once we're inside, we can see the power conversion unit right here. This is the compressor. It has chilled refrigerant that comes up and goes in coils around the cooler body. Then to get rid of the excess heat, it's got a series of coils over here and a small fan to cool it. So that's when they say when you're carrying these in your car, do not block the output or the input exhaust. It needs cool air blowing over it to dump out the heat so that it can continue to chill. Had a good experience with this before I took it apart. I did try freezing water and froze several 20-ounce water bottles overnight just by leaving them plugged in and set to the max temperature. Also hope to salvage the control panel from it because that'll be useful for my refrigeration experiment. But we're going to continue disassembling this. The other factor I thought about was maybe I could use a Peltier junction. Those are the small solid-state refrigeration modules that on the surface you would think would be more efficient, but they actually have a lower coefficient of performance than modern compressors today. So we're better off with the compressor, even though it's got moving parts, and the solid state doesn't. They've just got a good, efficient way of doing it. So let's see. All right, continuing our disassembly. I had pulled this off, and then as this came here, I sliced this with the knife, and revealing the foam insulation case. The compressor still here, and the storage compartment still right here. So I think what's next, I would love to pop out this piece, the whole top piece, but that's been perhaps the most reluctant piece. And I would love to somehow magically just melt this off and see what the coils look like under here for the transfer of thermal energy there. So I'll continue poking at this and recording. So as I was taking this apart, I had started to cut off the corners and slowly come into the insulating styrofoam. And here, wrapped in silver tape, I found the thermal probe for measuring temperature inside the box. Actually, it's quite good that a small compressor like this uses a remote thermostat that is located further than from the coils to regulate temperature. It does a much better job of regulating temperature when you're not right at the coils. Next, I'm going to start removing foam and looking for where the coils are, and I suspect that because the pipe comes in right down here, so I'm just using a extendable knife. Taking off one section at a time. You want to be careful as you cut. Don't want to risk severing a refrigerant line or anything like that. At the same time, there's a lot to remove. We can see something right along here, perhaps going around the perimeter of the base. We'll find out. Oh no. Oh no. Man. Alright, so that was a critical spot. Right there was the wire. Hopefully it's not polarized. Continuing to cut along these coils that I'm starting to uncover. Maybe remove a layer at a time. Just whatever kind of feel comfortable cutting into. So as we reach the top lip of the basin, the chill area, we got 1, 2, 3. It looks like that's it. Just these 4 coils, and the top lip is just the where the plastic joins for the tub. So realizing that the tubes that went through from the compressor body into the cooler section area all went through one hole, I put 2 cuts through there and pulled out this entire chunk of plastic to reveal the compressor works straight through to the cooling area. I've carefully cut away all this foam in here, and you do want to be careful because this small copper tube here is not a wire, it's a tube, and this is where the compressed refrigerant goes, enters the top of the cooling over here, circles the food container area 4 times, and then is expanded and thereby cooling in the process, and comes back into the compressor right here where it's recompressed, and then we blow over the heat coils that's in front of a small fan to dissipate the heat. So it's very well made. Love how they've wrapped this with foil. We had about 1.5 inches of foam on top of that. So really good heat transfer into the main body of this. These small automobile portable refrigerators are quite well done, tightly packaged, and well made. So good recommendation. Okay, after removing a lot of tape, I have freed the container section from the coils, giving me a condenser, compressor, and coils all together as a separate unit. I did see that some of the thermal tape on here had, I guess, created a couple of gaps, or there had been some inconsistencies, and there was some foam, not everywhere, but a couple of segments of the tubing had foam that was insulating it from the cooler, and that you don't want that. That's not where you want insulation. They used copper as they're coming right out of the compressor, but then they switched to aluminum for all the wraps until right at the end when it goes back to copper. So copper has about 53% better thermal conductivity than aluminum, but copper costs 4 to 6 times more than aluminum right now. So this was being a little bit cheap. It would have been nicer, and I would have had an easier time rebending these refrigeration lines if they were copper, but I don't blame them for using aluminum. But there it is, nice little refrigeration unit. Was sure hard to get to, and I haven't seen these for sale separately. So my best way to get this was to buy one of these car refrigeration containers.